Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I'm your host, Riverly. I am the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach pet professionals how to find their profit, and purpose while enjoying their passion. So I want to go ahead today and first apologize again. As always, new technology, new things setting up, which is always very exciting, but there's always a learning curve. So if you guys can hear me, let me know. If you can see me really well. Unfortunately, I was trying to screen share so I could see you guys on my monitor here. My regular computer's here. So I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat, but I apologize if I don't message you guys right away. I want to say hi to Peter. I already saw you commented. It's great to see you here live. It's always more fun when people are here live. So let's go ahead and talk about the topic of the day, which is, when should I hire a bookkeeper? Now, some of you guys may be like, well, I hired a bookkeeper right away. And some of you guys may be one of those people that doesn't hire a bookkeeper, but also doesn't really do their own bookkeeping. So I want to tell you guys there are really three major things to keep in mind when you should hire a bookkeeper. One is when you are a business and not just a hobby. A lot of times, you guys, when you're running your business, you will tell me that you are running a business. But then when I ask you guys about how much money you earn, how, your P&L, which is your profits and loss statement, you can't really tell me any of that stuff. The shift between owning a business or being self-employed and having a hobby is a major one. And I always get flack when I call people hobby groomers. It's not meant to be hurtful. What I'm trying to do there is point out the fact that you need to accept the fact that you're doing this for fun. If you're doing this purely for fun and if you don't make a paycheck, that's a hobby. A hobby costs you money, a business makes you money. And just to clarify, if this is your first time being on one of my shows, when I talk about a self-employed groomer versus a business owner owns a going concern where they can not show up to work and still earn money. A self-employed groomer has to show up and work as a groomer or somewhere in the business. Otherwise, the business cannot function. Now, I'm not talking about, making sure the ship is steered really well. I mean, like if you took a week off, will your business make money? So that is a business owner versus a self-employed groomer. Now, there's nothing wrong with being either or, but if you're self-employed, you have to be positive that you are charging probably significantly more than the business owner because they have other means of earning income in their business where you are the sole source of income. But going back to the hobby versus, let's say, professional groomer, if you just want to have fun and you want to play house or play business owner, that's fine. There's no shame in it. There's no harm in it. And if anything, I think it's a lot of fun. I see a lot of women who have husbands or spouses that financially take care of them and they're able to run their business any way they want. So if they run their business at a loss, no big deal because they didn't need to pay all of the bills at home. As a single mom, I have to earn a living. If I don't earn a living, no one's going to come by and pay my rent. It'd be very nice to have that. And I could definitely shift my business in different ways if I had more capital or if I didn't have to worry about where I was going to get my next paycheck. But that's just not the reality of the situation. So first and foremost, acknowledge if you are self-employed and or if you are a business owner, then it is time to hire a bookkeeper. If you are a hobby groomer, you can generally go ahead and do your own books. You're probably not making a lot of money. A lot of you guys aren't even technically making enough to consider that a job. Again, laws change all the time, but a lot of you guys are earning like less than $10,000 a year, and that's after deductions. And these are things that it's such a small micro situation that you guys could honestly do the bookkeeping yourself if you felt inclined to do it. I personally can do my own bookkeeping, but I don't really like to. So that's where it comes in. Are you earning money from this business, or is this business just a hobby? For instance, if you guys bred and show dogs, you might have to put that on your taxes, you might not. Again, having, let's say, an accountant, someone who's going to do your taxes, is different than hiring a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper is going to keep track of your numbers every single month, and it's going to keep balance on what's going on in the business so you can make financial decisions. But if I own, let's say, a kennel where I'm breeding and showing labs, which I did, I'm a numbers nerd, so I did keep a track of that. But a lot of you guys really don't need to, because you're not worried about creating income. You know that whatever money you earn having a litter is just simply going to be put into handlers. It's going to be put into dog food, vet bills, the whole 9 yards. So you would probably hire an accountant if your accounting was very, kind of tough. But most of the time it would be a hobby, so you wouldn't be worried about putting it on your taxes. Again, the same thing would be if you guys owned a barn and you were, you had boarding horses. If it is a business, that is different than, let's say, you have a few of your friends who throw you some money to put their horses on your property. So first things first, just, figure out, are you a hobby groomer or are you a professional groomer? If you're a professional groomer, are you a business owner or are you self-employed? So, oh, Leah's here. Hi. Perfect. So I'm so glad that you guys can hear it. Beautiful. So first things first, are you a hobby, self-employed, or business owner? 2, how much money are you willing to spend? So a bookkeeper is someone that you're going to spend money on. Now, you can get them very, very cheap. I've seen bookkeepers for small businesses with no employees as cheap as $30 a month. And I've seen for large multi-facility as much as $2,000 a month. So you kind of have to decide if you're willing to invest that money in a bookkeeper. I generally say, as a rule of thumb, don't spend more than around 10% to that kind of overhead, to outsourcing and hiring. So if my business is making $100,000 a year, I wouldn't want to spend more than about $10,000 a year in those kind of services. So again, if I was making $10,000 a year, I really wouldn't want to spend more than about $1,000 a year. And that includes my, accountant, so that's my enrolled agent or my CPA, a bookkeeper, and any of those other professionals. So depending upon how much you're currently earning, it's going to help you make that decision. And now some of you guys might think, well, doesn't that approach to the professional versus the business owner and the self-employed? Well, no, because there are plenty of groomers who are professional groomers that maybe this year they've had a really bad year. COVID has really hurt a lot of us. A lot of us are not keeping our heads above water. It's just a very sad truth. Where some of us are looking to invest more in our business and grow their business, and some of us are scaling back, knowing where you fall into that. And making a decision on how much you're willing to spend on those services allows you to allocate that money and divvy it up. So let's say you have $1,000 a month that you're willing to spend on outsourcing. And if, let's say I find a bookkeeper and it's $100 a month. Okay, so that is $100 out of that $1,000. And then maybe I also have, for instance, like I like having someone do my taxes. I personally want to do my taxes. Are they possibly going to do towel service? There's a bunch of other things that they could be doing that's going to help the business run smoothly. And bookkeeping is probably one of them, but it's not always one of them. So I want you to go ahead and decide how much money you're willing to invest, and that will help you know if you are ready to hire a bookkeeper. If you are of the mindset that you don't want to invest that money, and I hear this all the time from groomers, they'll say like, I really need help with my business growing, but I'm not ready to invest in, let's say, a business coach. Well, you're just kind of digging yourself a hole. Either you're ready to invest that money or you're not. So if you're saying to yourself, I really don't want to pay for someone to do this for me, then don't hire a bookkeeper and just do it yourself. 9 times out of 10, you are going to spend more time and ultimately lose more money than you would have paid. But that's totally up to you guys. You are the bearer of your own destiny. This is all up to you. You've got to make your own personal decisions. And, I can tell you what I think you should do, but what you ultimately do is totally up to you. Sorry, just checking my notes. I know I'm cheating, right? I don't mean to cheat. Number 3. Sorry, I need another water. This big ring light. It's so bright. Number 3 is, where do you want to go? So for instance, I have a lot of coaching clients that are solopreneurs, and I like that. I love people who have employees, and I think a lot of you guys really should consider hiring employees and doing all of that. But for now, as solopreneurs, well, I'm not a solopreneur anymore, but I was for a while. I was a one-woman show in my van for a while. What is your ultimate goal? So the way I teach my coaching clients and in my membership, first things first, I want you to outsource everything you can. And for me, one of the simplest things to outsource is bookkeeping. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But if you tell me I want to stay very, very small, and I only want to have just me in a grooming van, and I basically want to work part-time. And again, you may say, well, isn't that person a hobby groomer? Well, no, because they may make a livable wage. That's not the same. So they want to be a solopreneur. They have been grooming for 20 years. They like handling the books at the end of the day. They might even use pen and paper, which you guys know how I feel about pen and paper as far as bookkeeping or appointment books, and that's how they choose to do it. Then that's okay. Then don't hire a bookkeeper. But for the rest of us that want to grow our business or automate our business, investing in a good, solid bookkeeper will allow you to grow. All of this said, you may be like, okay, well, how do I know if I have a good bookkeeper or a crappy bookkeeper? Well, let me start by saying that I think that we should definitely interview multiple people. Getting verbal referrals is great, but it's also can be a little bit tricky. It's kind of like anything. We all want to be the person that they refer for a groomer, but how do I put this? Think of it like this. So I'm feeling exclusive mobile. My soulmate client is very different than a lot of CFMGs. So I went to the beach retreat in Myrtle Beach, and a lot of the other CFMGs, we had maybe similar clients, but they had very different behaviors. So I wanted my clients on an every 4-week schedule. I want them on a bath and blow dry. I don't want to do line cuts. I don't want to do belly shaves. But I had other groomers who wanted those hair cutting services because they sell hair. And they sell the dirty cat hair for allergy shots. So they have different clientele. And then there was another mobile who wants her schedule to be a little bit more flexible. And even though our client had the same demographic, it was the same age range, it was the same median income, their behavior pattern was different. And the reason I bring that up is because you could have a good friend of yours, maybe even another groomer, maybe even another, let's say, mobile groomer if you're mobile. And that groomer has a totally different need of a bookkeeper. Ask yourself, what about this bookkeeper is a need? Do you want somebody who you can just export from your grooming software into QuickBooks Online and they take care of everything else? Do you want some more hands-on stuff? Do you want them to walk you through everything and explain it to you? That way you know exactly what's going on in your business. Do you want them to give you a report at the end of the month? These are all different business models of bookkeepers. And not every bookkeeper is the same. A lot of times you guys will say, well, this person was cheap and that's why I went with them. And I say, well, don't you want to be a high-end groomer? And they say, well, yeah. And I say, well, when you, again, you guys know I'm granola crunchy. When you want something, if you say, I want high-end clients, but you're not a high-end client. Now, you don't have to be a high-end client for everything. But when we generally choose, when we're more likely to choose cheap products for our business, you get what you pay for. You know, you don't need the $2,000 a month bookkeeper if you're a solopreneur. But probably choosing someone based on the cheapest was probably unwise. You want to start working on a value. Is this valuable to me? And that's a harder concept. And deciding what is valuable to you. For me, what's valuable to me is if I have a question. Now, I will preface this. Now I have an office manager who does all of my bookkeeping. Before that, I had hired someone I really liked. And before that, when I first started my mobile, I did everything by myself. And mostly the reason for that was because, I'm not going to lie, I had a brand new mobile van. I had a payment and I was feeling a little cheap. I was like, no, I think I can do this. And it was very small in the beginning. I didn't have a lot of clients. I knew I was going to have less than 100 monthly clients, because around 100 monthly clients was about what I wanted. But there's people who have multiple cats. So in the very, very beginning, I would say the first 6 months to a year, I could do it myself. And then as things started to run smoothly, I'm like, okay, I want to hire somebody and do this. So you can do it, but you just have to make sure you know what you need to understand, the basics of it. You know, what is an asset? What is a liability? Are you doing single entry or double entry? And everyone does it different. I personally really like double entry bookkeeping methods, because then I have a checks and balance. A single entry means you put it in once. And so then if I'm not really sure where that one came from, in a double entry, I can see I took it from here and I put it there. So I like that when I'm doing my bookkeeping. It is a lot more work, and therefore it was a lot easier to pay somebody, a professional, to do that. For the amount of time it would take me to do bookkeeping at the end of the week, I mean, the amount of time it would take me, you know, every week is what they would take for, you know, an entire month. And so it saved me a lot of time. And when you're ready, you'll know you're ready. It's mainly because you are ready to get to know your numbers, because you really need to know your numbers in order to grow and to do new things. Without that, there's no hope of you being able to grow your business in that fashion. You know, it's like this circle I hear all the time, guys. You guys say, I need to increase my prices. And I say, okay, well, how much do you need to earn? You say, well, I don't know. I say, well, how do you know you need to earn more money if you don't actually know how much money you need? You know, it's not, you can't, then you don't know how much you need to earn. You know, and we can't figure out how much to increase your prices to, or figure out if your business is profitable or not if you guys don't have your numbers. Now, you don't have to create those numbers. You can pull them right from your grooming software, put them into QuickBooks, and then have your bookkeeper, whether you spend $30 a month or $2,000 a month, go ahead and take out your expenses and put them in, your payroll, all of that, and then go ahead and figure out how much money you actually earned that month. And then you can say, okay, is this about where I'm at? Or are you saying, I spent too much on payroll? And remember, all payroll, including management and not yourself as an owner, but yourself if you're grooming, needs to be under 30%. That is one of the biggest struggles you guys have. But in order to do that, we have to have those numbers. So I would highly suggest you guys hire a bookkeeper if you are, you know, either some sort of professional groomer and this is your career. If you're a hobby and you're just going to have fun, there's no harm in that, but no one's going to judge you. I would tell that to your clients. And these are generally the people you see. You're either a breeder and you like to do, let's say you're a doodle breeder and you just want to groom doodles from your litters. There's nothing wrong with that. Have fun. Or, you know, you worked corporate and you hated it and your husband said, go open up a shop in your house and you charge like $25 to do a Bichon. Now, I have a very good friend of mine who owns a salon in her home, and she's very professional. She makes more money than her husband, who's actually an attorney. And that's great. And that woman is not a hobby groomer. She's a professional groomer. So it doesn't mean that anyone who works at their home is a hobby groomer. So don't misunderstand that. So it's all about what you want to do and investing that money. Now, would I suggest hiring a bookkeeper? Absolutely. I don't understand why you guys want to spend all that time and energy doing your own bookkeeping. I also like the fact that when I hire a professional bookkeeper, if there's a mistake, that's on them. I have personally enough pressure on me from everything in my business. I've got to be a good mom. I've got to be a good business owner. I have coaching clients. I have my business. I am an employer. I have all of these things. Having somebody in charge of making sure the numbers are right. Now, every month I do double check my numbers. That's very important. And that actually brings me to my workshop that I'm going to be doing this month in our membership of Grow Wealthy Grooming. You can either purchase this as a one-time purchase for $97, or you guys are more than welcome to join Grow Wealthy Grooming, and it'll be free for our Grow Wealthy Grooming membership. It is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half worth of a class, and it's all about the basics of bookkeeping. We're going to go over common problems with bookkeeping. We're going to be going ahead and talking about, understanding what each of the accounts are going to have. So, and I don't mean bank accounts. We have things like assets, liabilities. I'm going to explain to you how to do the double entry and what a double versus single entry is. And this is all going to be geared towards pet professionals and groomers specifically. I really like this workshop. I'm really excited to do it. I want you guys to become more familiar with it, not because I think it's worthwhile for you to learn it in the sense that you should do it, but I think being familiar enough with it will be good for you. Now, I will say that even teaching the class kind of gives me a headache. I'm not going to lie to you. It is a lot of information. It's definitely meant for a very analytical mind, but you should be able to know what an asset is. You should be able to know how to tell what is going on those sheets. And so I would really suggest you guys consider investing in yourself and in your business, and either purchase the class as a one-time $97 or go ahead and sign up for Grow Wealthy Grooming. We will be doing the class live next week. I'm sorry, it may not be next week. It might be the week after. It's the week, an entire week before Thanksgiving. I want to make sure it was not the week of Thanksgiving. And I can always get the dates for you guys if you would like specifically. You can watch it live, or you can watch the actual pre-recorded. So in every Grow Wealthy Grooming, in the membership, as well as the single classes, you can buy it either way. You get me basically saying each module clearly, and then you can also watch the live workshop. What's nice about the live workshop is that you can actually ask the questions specifically. So at the end of it, we will have a Q&A, and if you have specific questions, I can help. Now, I will say with bookkeeping, the trouble is that there are always things like, well, yes, but. And so having a good bookkeeper will help you with that. And the nice thing about QuickBooks Online is you can actually ask a bookkeeper and sometimes an accountant right there through QuickBooks Online. But I'm really excited about that workshop, and that is going to be in the month of November. I'd really love it if you guys invest in yourself and in your business to do so. Let me double check. Awesome. We're making great time. So let's go ahead into our full sales pitch, right? So if you are interested in working with me, the Savvy Groomer, there are 3 main ways of doing it. You can sign up for my membership, which is Grow Wealthy Grooming. It is a $35 a month membership where you get into the online portal where you will get not only this month's workshop, but every month previous from that. This month it is all about bookkeeping. So we're going to go ahead and focus on teaching you all about just the basics of bookkeeping. I want you to be competent and feel confident when talking to somebody who's going to help you organize the finances in your business. Now, if you want more help one-on-one, I do offer one-on-one coaching. Now, one-on-one business coaching is $9.97 a month. That will give you 4 hours that you can use either in 30-minute, 60-minute, or 120-minute increments. And we can work on reshaping your business and making sure that it makes you happy. Now, if you're wondering, how the hell am I going to pay for all this? No worries. I have my online course, Personal Finance Unleashed, where I teach you how to get your money to work for you. That is only $199 for 3 months. And the exciting thing is if you go ahead and purchase that in the year of 2020, you will get a year's free access to my financial mastermind next year, which is tentatively titled Unapologetically Wealthy, where we are going to work with groomers on repairing credit, building credit, super saving, whether that is to buy a home or to buy a mobile business or a salon. Well, I really appreciate you guys being here. It's always fun to share my knowledge. I hope this has been very helpful. I hope those of you guys that have chosen to not really do your books and pretend to do your books and then hand it in a shoebox to your accountant who wants to rip their hair out, try not to do that. That's kind of like us waiting and we don't want a customer to do a once a year shave down. Think of you with doing your books once a year and handing it to your accountant like the once a year shave down. We want our clients on a monthly grooming schedule, a maintenance schedule. So do that for your bookkeeper and your accountant. Be the good client, right, guys? So, like I said, this week's topic was, when should I hire a bookkeeper? It was great talking with you guys. I cannot wait to see you next week. And happy grooming, guys.